what they did. Let's pivot over, talk a little Stefanski real quick, though. But first, a word from Leaf Filter. There's only one Cleveland and only one gutter guard for the toughest fans in the world, and that is Leaf Filter. Leaf Filter has been protecting gutters in Northeast Ohio for nearly 20 years. Call Leaf Filter today and schedule your free gutter inspection and get a no-obligation free estimate. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will clean out, realign, and seal your gutters before installing Leaf Filter. Over 1 million homeowners have trusted Leaf Filter, and you could be the next. Schedule your free inspection now, and for a limited time, get up to 32% off your entire purchase and 2 free Browns jerseys at leaffilter.com/UCSS. That's a free inspection, up to 32% off, and 2 free Browns jerseys with a qualified purchase at leaffilter.com/UCSS. Offer comes on a first-come, first-served basis while supplies last. Full terms and conditions can be found at leaffilter.com/UCSS. See representatives for warranty details. Kevin Stefanski gave up play calling, became CEO Stefanski last week, and I'm curious if you guys think, now we've had about a week removed from the situation, do you think that approach of a more CEO as opposed to a play caller actually had an impact on some of the little things in the game, like the Browns cutting down on their offensive penalties, better communication, getting the play calls in more quickly? Do you think giving up play calling actually impacted that aspect of the Browns' performance against the Ravens?
We talked about on Monday, I think he was a little bit more active in meetings during the week in terms of sticking his head in different positional group meetings. I actually think the biggest help to the offense was probably moving Mike Vrabel onto the offensive line and having him help those guys. We talked about it. He was very active the last couple of weeks, getting more involved with offensive line meetings during the week, installation during the week, and all that. And then on Sunday, I told you Zach and I were watching him on the sideline quite a bit and how much time he spent with the offensive linemen in game during the game. So I think that was probably very significant in cleaning up some of the offensive line issues, not to mention getting Wyatt Teller back, obviously. That's a big help. And DeWine played well at left tackle. Regardless of the PFF grade, I thought he did fine. But it's certainly a new position for Kevin to be in. It's the first time he's ever been in that spot of being on the sideline, being in charge, and not having the play sheet in his hand. And I'll say what I've said 100 times. Truly, I don't know that I care if he calls plays or not. I think he's earned the opportunity to make that decision himself without interference from anybody else. If he wants to call the plays, he should call the plays. If he doesn't want to call the plays, if he feels like last week was great and this is the way he wants to go moving forward, regardless of how long he's in Cleveland, whether it's the rest of this year or 5 more years, if he doesn't want to do it, then fine, don't do it. But I think he's earned the right to make that decision himself one way or the other.
I agree with that 100%. We don't have enough really to body work one game.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So we don't know. But we can only judge on what we've seen. And what we saw was a cleaner game, less stupid penalties, and that's probably a byproduct of him spending more time with all the position groups and all the meetings. And he also has to understand that I don't think we any longer have a referendum on, is this the play calling or the offense, or is it the quarterback? Because that was the unintended baggage we got with Deshaun Watson. We were looking at it this year, even though the Stefanski offense had a lot of success last year with a lot of different guys, particularly Joe Flacco. By week 3, there was a lot of split between Browns fans. Stefanski's got to give up play calling. It's the offense. And then there was a lot of the Watson supporters that were saying, nope, or Watson detractors rather than saying, it's Watson. He has to go. That referendum to me is over and buried. This is Stefanski's offense. This is the one that looked beautiful last year and took them to the playoffs with someone other than Watson. It was the same offense that looked garbage when Watson was the trigger man. And it's the same offense that once again looked really good on Sunday without him. So for me, that referendum is over. Stefanski's offense is just fine. You need the right guy running it. And for all of this trying to fit the square peg in the round hole, or let's blend the offense to fit what this quarterback likes, because we can't blend the quarterback to fit what the offense does, it's simple to me. This offense is perfectly fine. It is not broken. It works with the right guy. So I want to see more games. I want to see, do they continue to play smart football without stupid penalties? Because that's been their trademark all year. So, and by the way, my inclination on that is we will continue to see a cleaner product. And I love your point about Mike Vrabel. In that footage there, when you watch Vrabel practice, that dude is out there coaching like he's still playing. He's running sprints hard 100% every single time. Why? because he wants to set an example for all of his other guys that are out there with him.
Obviously, we didn't see him in Tennessee. I don't know what kind of coach he was in Tennessee, if he was doing that kind of stuff when he was the coach of the Titans. But I do think that he's enjoying his time in Cleveland. I know it's been a miserable year in terms of record, but I think he's enjoying probably not having the stress of being the man in charge, of being back in his hometown. I think he's really enjoying it. But the one thing I would disagree with you on, they did change the offense from last year to this year. This wasn't really the Stefanski offense that we saw early on in terms of blocking schemes.
But we did that to appease the quarterback.
Correct. Yes.
So to me, I can't judge that. I can't harshly judge the offense or the architects for that, because that wasn't their decision.
Kevin's offense works when you have a quarterback who can run the system.
God, we've seen it. Look at the quarterbacks that have had success in this offense.
Yeah.
It's guys that have looked really crappy in other places too.
Yeah.
In some cases.
I mean, again, it's the Shanahan offense. It's the Kubiak-Shanahan. The offense that they're running in San Francisco and having great success with is what he's trying to run here. It's what he's trying to get to. And at times it's looked great. At times it hasn't.
I think he made the move not on a football level. It's just, he made the move on a people level. Like, I think a lot of times we take a look at football and we make it cut and dry to X's and O's and what happens on the field. But I thought it was a very smart move, because what he did is he gave everybody a clean slate. When he gave over play calling at that point in time, he goes to Ken Dorsey and he goes to Jameis Winston and says, listen, hey, I believe in you guys. I think you guys will call a great game. We already know what you guys are capable of. And when you believe in somebody and give them an opportunity, because look, Ken Dorsey is probably a little upset that he wasn't calling plays to start the season.
Oh, we talked about that.
He's probably
Go back and listen to his answer in training camp.
Sure.
He probably didn't sign up. He thought he didn't sign up for that.
He came here thinking he was going to call plays.
So think about it. And I think Kevin Stefanski said, you know what? I'm going to give you a shot. And Ken probably didn't expect him to turn it over, because we didn't expect him to turn over.
You still think that it came from Stefanski?
Yes.
And he wasn't told.
No. I think Kevin Stefanski is a much better psychologist than we give him credit for, because he's a man of very few words. We get the chance to speculate about a lot of different things, and that helps you and hurts you in certain circumstances. It helps you when you can go to a person and say, "Look, hey, I thought you thought I was going to call the plays. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to concentrate on a lot of other different things." And just think about that. Ken Dorsey has probably been sitting there thinking about his first 10, 15 plays in his script for about a whole 6-7 games.
Sure.
He's like, hey, when I get my opportunity, I'm going to crush it. Because he thought, hey, this is a guy, Ken Dorsey, who just not a few years ago was thought of as a brilliant mind. He was with Josh Allen. They was throwing for a boatload of yards. Josh Allen has a bad year. All of a sudden, he's on the outs, and he finds himself in Cleveland. Now he's attached to Deshaun Watson. You're 1-6. That's a couple games from being up out of here, bro.
Yep.
You might be back in college if it don't work out. Then he gets an opportunity. Fate would have it. He gets Jameis Winston. He gets the opportunity to call the plays now. And now he got a new lease on life, just like Jameis Winston has a new lease on life, thinking like, hey, I thought I was going to be a backup. Now these guys are going to play, and they're going to give it everything they got, because that's the way the league is. It's like, you could be here today, gone tomorrow. So for me, I thought it was a good move. And Kevin Stefanski, either way, comes out looking good.
There's a lot of parts to this. First of all, Jason, you and I have been in lockstep about Kevin Stefanski pretty much all the way. We've defended him a lot. I agree with the play calling situation. This was the first time this year, a couple of weeks ago, that I was like, he should give up the play calling. But it had nothing to do, from my perspective. A lot of fans wanted him to give up play calling because they didn't like his play calling. For me, it had zero to do with his play calling. For me, it felt like this was the first season since he'd been head coach that he didn't have, like, I always feel, and I'm not saying there haven't been examples where they've been bad, but in the first 4 years with Kevin Stefanski, for the most part, I thought he did a good job with timeouts, and he did a good job with clock management. And this year he was not doing that. And I think, when a player has a bad season, Darius Garland had a bad season, we don't think, oh, well, this guy's necessarily going to suck the rest of his career. He's just having a down year for whatever reason. Well, coaches can have a bad year, too, for a variety of reasons. He lost his most important guy, or arguably his two most important guys, between Van Pelt and Callahan on offense. There's an adjustment there. And I think, listen, I still don't totally buy that Kevin gave up play calling by himself, but I want to believe he did because I think it's better
I do
for the
too.
organization if he did.
Yeah.
And if he did, he may have come to a realization at some point this year where he said, I thought it could just be business as usual, and I could call plays and it's no big deal. But I don't have that backing that I used to.
Right.
I don't have it. I
That
lost
safety net of those
right.
guys. Yeah.
And those guys took care of some of the parts of the offense, and now I've had to do more, and so now I need help. So, okay, Vrabel's part of the offensive staff. Okay,
it's a great
I'm
point.
not going to call plays.
Yeah.
Now, and yeah, maybe this week there'll be a disaster and there'll be bad clock management, I don't know. But it did feel like in this game that it got back to him being in control of the team because of the changes he made.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's a great point with losing two key guys.
Yeah.
And he sort of brought two guys with a lot of experience. Mike Vrabel's a head coach. Mike
Right.
Vrabel's an NFL coach of
That's
the
right.
year. And so if you're not using this guy in the right way, shame on you. And I don't know how that change was precipitated. I don't know if Mike went to him and said, hey, let me help.
Yeah.
Or if Kevin was smart enough to look over and say, my God, I've got a second head coach on my staff, and he's not doing what I most need him to do.
I would tend to. I've been told that Kevin was the first one to say invite Mike in because
Great.
when Mike came on, I think we all said, well, here we go.
It looked like
Here's
it, writing on the wall.
And everything I have been told, and I said this then, everything I was told back then was Kevin was the first one to say, hey, bring him in. Because I keep saying, the guy does not have the ego that a lot of people think that he does because he was holding on to the play call for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Kevin does not. You can ask Aditi. Aditi knows him better than anybody. He does not have this, I am infallible.
Right.
No one can tell me what to do. He is all about, if you can help, come on in and let's
Jay,
figure
I
this
think
out.
the reason we thought that was because he was saying, I'm not giving up play calling.
Right.
My opinion of him has changed since, particularly, that's why I'm with you. I want to believe that it was his decision.
Right.
If it was, I think it's a mature move. It's a smart move. It's the move of someone who's pretty secure.
It's a humbling move.
It is very humbling
Yeah.
because he didn't do it when they were 6-1.
No.
He did it when they were 1-6,
Yeah.
and there is a difference to that. But look, you got to credit the guy. Some people you can lead them to water, and they're just not going to drink it. Kevin, after seeing some of his other duties suffer, because you're
Yeah.
absolutely right, this year on clock management and just in-game decisions
Yeah.
have been poor. And I'm not talking about play calling. I'm talking about in-game
Yeah,
decisions.
100%.
He had been the worst I'd seen from him. And he probably being self-aware enough and also being smart enough to know I have to self-inspect every once in a while. I'm judging everybody else. I have to judge myself too. He probably smartly came to the decision, I can be really, really good at my job if I don't have 100 jobs.
Yeah.
And to your point, something you just said, and it references something you brought up too. You just used the word secure. If Kevin Stefanski, yeah, he doesn't have an ego, but you got to be confident.
Of
If
course.
Kevin Stefanski was not confident in himself, and if he wasn't secure in himself, you're not bringing in Mike Vrabel. No chance.
You're probably not bringing in Ken Dorsey.
And you're not giving up the play calling either
Right.
if you didn't believe in yourself. And so I think, again, we're hoping that it was his decision. If that's the case, it shows a guy who's not. There are a lot of. Look, let's go back to Hugh Jackson. You think Hugh Jackson would have wanted a Mike Vrabel
Yeah,
here?
no.
No chance.
Keep your friends close, your enemies closer.
Hey, they can help you. In this case,
Before you suggested I already did it, what you talking about, bro? He's
Yeah.
already here.
all right.
Let's get to some,
five packs. Time for a 5-pack.